So it's official now. As of 9:15 a.m. on Friday, August 12th, 2022, the ground has been broken by the USL to construct a stadium for Rhode Island. Now, construction has already been ongoing. If you've been following me for this summer, construction was already, I talked about how construction was going on, but then it stopped because of money. They needed more money from the state, and the governor of Rhode Island had to intervene in order for the construction company, Tidewater Landing or First Choice Partners, to be able to get the money. But now the USL was in Rhode Island this morning, and basically they First Choice Partners and the state of Rhode Island got the USL's stamp of approval, which means Rhode Island, Providence-Pawtucket, the Providence-Pawtucket Metro area is going to be one of the newest expansion cities, one of the newest USL expansion cities. So they're joining Santa Barbara, California. They're joining New Orleans, Louisiana, Wilmington, North Carolina, Lexington, Kentucky, Des Moines, Iowa. I believe also Spokane, Washington also. So they're joining those other mid-sized cities for either a USL Championship or USL League One. But the Rhode Island team is going to be USL Championship, because USL Championship Twitter, they're the one who tweeted. So the Rhode Island team is going to be USL Championship along with New Orleans and Des Moines, Iowa. And the past few weeks, I've been speculating about why they building a stadium without the USL ever announcing that they're expanding to Rhode Island. But now, no more speculation. The politics is done. The governor made sure that they got the money to construct the stadium, and that opened the door for the USL to come and give their stamp of approval. So now the politics is over with, and professional soccer in Rhode Island is a thing. And, this is good for American soccer. This is good for the growth of the sport, because the MLS is not going to expand to every city. The cap is either going to be 30, 32, or 34. And when it comes to the MLS, they are largely targeting major cities. And they want to use major towns, medium-sized towns, and small towns as developmental cities. We got the USL. The USL is telling these mid-major towns, these medium-sized towns and small towns that, no, you don't have to be we have a better product. That's basically what the USL is telling people in cities like Providence, Rhode Island, and Wilmington, North Carolina, and Des Moines, Iowa. They're saying, we have a better product for you. You don't have to accept being a low-level developmental town. We can provide high-quality professional soccer to you, because we believe that every city, every American deserves to experience high-level professional soccer. And that is the message for the USL. And if you're the USL, that's a good thing. But the thing that you really need to focus on the most from here on out is finding good lawyers. Because what it looks like the MLS is doing, it looks like they are trying to monopolize the sport. Similar to how the NFL did it with gridiron football, to make sure that they were the only professional gridiron football team in this country for so many years. It looked like the MLS is trying to go down that same path. And that's not good for the sport in this country, because soccer in America is not popular. it's not on that level where one league is acceptable. You need at least 2 or 3 solid leagues in order for the sport to become more, in order for people in this country to become more familiarized with the sport. So if you're the USL, you have to lawyer up. Find you some good lawyers. And here's another thing. And USL fans, it may make you uncomfortable by hearing this, but USL, you have to find you some millionaire ownership. You have to find you some millionaire investors. Look, not all millionaire investors are against the community. There's a lot of wealthy investors that are pro-community. But it's your job, USL, to find those right investors. Because this fight you have, it's a fight of stability for you at USL as you compete against MLS Next and MLS Next Pro. It's a fight for stability. So you need wealthy investors that is capable to fight back against MLS Next expansion, because your competition is not MLS as a, it's not like the major MLS teams like DC United and NYCFC. You're not fighting against those teams. You're fighting against the next, the developmental clubs. And the MLS has enough money to support those developmental clubs that will cause you to go out of business. The MLS has money to purchase potential land that you're interested in, USL. And as a result of the MLS purchasing that potential land that you wanted for your team and your stadium, USL, it will cause you to be homeless and eventually go out of business. And it looks as if that's what the MLS is trying to do. And it's just a bad look for you, MLS, because instead of you looking like the leader, it looks like you're being the follower. Wherever the USL goes, that's where you want to go. The USL say they want to go to Jacksonville, then you say, oh, we're going to go to Jacksonville too for our next team. The USL say they want to go to Irvine, California, then you say, oh, we want to go to Irvine, California too for our next team. And now it's looking like, MLS, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're supposed to be the top dog. You're supposed to be the leader. Now, Rhode Island. The ownership group for this Rhode Island team is, well, I don't know if they're the official ownership group, but on Twitter, it looks like they're the ones that's going to be in charge of creating the team, the USL team. And it's called Rhode Island Pro Soccer. And on Twitter, it's basically, the description is they're a club for all Rhode Island committed to bringing USL Championship soccer to the Ocean State. And a couple of their tweets have been retweeted by the USL Championship League, which means they are the official club that's in charge of they're the official group that's in charge of creating a club, a USL club in Rhode Island, similar to USL NOLA being the official group that's in charge of creating a club in New Orleans. Now, here's another catch to this. New England Revolution. You see, there's getting ready to be not 1, but 2 USL clubs that have created a stadium before you, New England Revolution. Hartford Athletic, and now Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So, Robert Kraft, the pressure is going to start to intensify from New England Revolution fans. I would say Boston soccer fans, but I'm not really sure if the people in Boston are really into soccer like that. I just don't know how bad they want a soccer stadium in that city. And I'm not even sure if a lot of people in Boston even knows that the New England Revolution exists. Well, all I'm saying is now, Robert Kraft, the pressure is getting ready to intensify on you. Now, it was reported by the Boston Globe in June that legislation had been cleared that will open the door for you to get land to build a stadium on. But there hasn't been any updates since June. But all I know is Hartford already has a stadium. Rhode Island is getting ready to have a stadium. So that's 2 USL teams in New England that's getting ready to have a stadium before the one MLS team that has been around longer than those 2 USL teams combined. Also, I don't know who's the first official fan group for the Rhode Island USL team, because in soccer, it matters which fan support group is the first, second, or third. As of right now, I do not know who is the first supporter group of the USL Rhode Island team. But if you know, and if you find out who they are before me, just let me know in the comment section. This is a developing story similar to the new team in New Orleans and Santa Barbara and Wilmington, North Carolina, and Lexington, Kentucky. So as these stories, as time progresses and we gain more information, I will continue to talk more about these various teams in the USL and how the USL really plans to remain stable, as the MLS is literally trying to monopolize the sport. There's also word that MLS is trying to start a next team in Jacksonville, which would be very disastrous for that city. A city as big as Jacksonville, giving them a developmental team is like a slap in the face. Giving them a developmental team is basically the MLS saying, like, we don't view you as a major professional city. That's basically what it is. A city that big with that amount of people, and you're just going to give them a little old developmental club? If I'm the USL, I will still pursue Jacksonville, because I will go in there and tell Jacksonville that we view you more as a developmental city. We view you as a world-class, first-class city. Therefore, we're going to give you a high-level professional soccer team. But anyways, that's another monologue for another time.